Welcome to the Mind Your Wedding Business podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 30 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. I'm here with Nadine Bozeman, and she is the host and coach from the Secrets of the Bridal Seamstress podcast and membership. Welcome, Nadine.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm excited to have you too. And we're going to be talking about the balance without burnout, the art of work-life harmony. And I think so many of us need this talk right now because I'm in the middle of our busiest week of the year and I'm just trying, and everybody's like, what's this on Thursday, the Thursday or Friday or what's going on? And I'm like, I am literally living moment by moment right now in my life.
Yes.
So yeah, exactly. So I can't tell you what's happening tonight. So, Nadine, before we jump into the topic, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how we got you here today?
Yeah. So in 2017, I started my own local business for bridal alterations called Sweet Francis Sewing Co. So that's located here in the Pacific Northwest. Before that, I was a middle school teacher for 10 years. So I knew that was not my forever life. And like a lot of us wedding pros, it's like just one step led to the next. It wasn't my first plan to be a bridal seamstress or be in the wedding world. But once I found myself there, I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. Like, I love it. I love working with brides and hearing the details of weddings. I feel like, I don't know, it never gets old for me. So I feel like I'm in the right spot knowing that. And when I first started the business, I was struggling, and then I invested in coaching and online courses and trainings. And I thought, okay, I want to make it easier for the next woman to get to six figures sooner than it took me. So Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress was first a podcast and then turned into a business membership. And we have members from around the world. We have a couple annual retreats.
Oh, wow.
Or a couple of retreats each year. It's just grown to be a really fulfilling segue from what I've learned in my local business. So I still have a local alteration shop along with the business membership. So I'm excited to bring this topic to wedding pros because I know we all struggle with it, no matter where you are in the business journey. You kind of have to have these little reminders of, why are you working in the first place? So
yeah, why are we doing this?
Yes.
So also as a father of a 14-year-old, I commend you for being in middle school for 10 years because my daughter's about to get promoted to high school, and I don't know how someone can manage being in that life for 10 years. It's amazing. You made that. So anyway.
But teaching middle school and then coaching adults, there are a lot of similarities. And a lot of skills I still use. So just less odors.
Oh, very true. Very true. The other day I had to walk in there and say, open your window, air out this room. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
I get it. All right. So Nadine, balance without burnout sounds amazing. But for someone in the middle of, wedding planning or a busy season in life, what does it actually look like in real life?
Yeah. Well, I think when we first start our business, it's so exciting to be busy. Like we can survive off of adrenaline probably for a couple of years because we see, like, when we take on a project, when we work hard, we get money. And so like our brain is telling us, the more you do this, the more money you're going to get, the better you're going to feel. Your confidence is, built, and it's like, it feels so good. And so that's why we keep doing it. And then there's a point where we're like, wait a minute, I haven't seen my friends in 11 months. I don't remember eating like real food,
Yeah.
We all get to this point, I think, at different times in our business, but there is a point where we have to ask ourselves, like, is this sustainable long term? And is this worth the sacrifice for the money? And also, what goes into this is when we first start our business, we don't really know how to price stuff, so we don't know what to charge clients so that we're actually paying ourselves a livable wage that we can have like flexible hours. We don't understand that. We just think the more work we take on, the more money we make, and we're going to be happy. So if you're listening and you're in that boat and you're like, yeah, I'm a couple years in and it's been so exciting and this like adrenaline rush, but I can't live my life like this. So once you hit that point, I'm here to tell you that nobody else can create the balance for you. And so, Kevin, what did you do before you were in the world of weddings? Was this your
Um,
first
I'm
gig?
going to be honest with you. I started my business when I was 18 years old. I've been doing this now for a long time, but
Wow. Okay.
yeah, but while had my business, I was still going to college, and I actually worked at like a before and after school daycare, and so I was I had like multiple hats, because
Yeah.
I started out as a DJ, and I never thought I was doing it to meet girls. I'll be brutally honest with you. I was a little nerdy, and it was, the DJ was the one that always had the girls talking to him. And, that's kind of why I started it. But I didn't realize, and then by the time I turned 22, I realized, wow, I can actually probably make some money off of doing
hmm
this, so that's kind of where, but I was juggling multiple hats when I started.
Yeah,
So,
because I think a lot of us who come into the world of weddings, we don't start off as entrepreneurs, except
no.
unicorns like you. So we're used to having someone else check up on us. Like when I was a teacher, I had an administrator who was checking up
Hmm.
on me, like, "Hey, do you need support? Like, you, do you need to take a mental health day? And so when we're working for ourselves, we are the only ones responsible for that, and
Yeah.
nobody's going to come in and tell you you need to go see your friends. You need to make sure that you're eating and like going to the gym, taking care of your body, resting. Like, what are you working for? Are you working for the sake of working and making money? Or are you building a life? So you have to come to yourself and rescue yourself from all of these extra hours, right? And nobody else is going to do it for you. And I think the sooner that we can realize that, that helps us out so much too, because we are responsible. We are responsible. And what I tell our members in SPS membership is, you want to treat yourself the way that if you'd imagine like this dream boss, how would your dream boss treat you? They'd
Mm,
say like, okay, make sure did you take your 15? Okay, do you need to go get a coffee? Maybe just take a little bit of a longer lunch break because you seem kind of stressed today. Or you'd have a boss that encourages you in your work and acknowledges like, that was a really tough project, but the client was so satisfied. Thanks for really putting in the extra miles. I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like
no.
we I feel like we don't always acknowledge that, as entrepreneurs, we have to take care of that part of ourselves too. Like maybe you can relate. I always feel like I'm so hard on myself to just do the next thing, do the next thing. So even if there is, a really challenging wedding dress because I'm a seamstress that goes out the door, I don't give myself a chance to be like, oh, phew, good job, girl. We got that done. It's like, okay, the next one's coming in. Or the same thing, with my membership. Like we just had a fantastic retreat in Nashville and it was our biggest one yet. And I didn't even want to celebrate it. I was like, okay, that was great. Moving on to the next one, let's plan the next event. And if I had a really loving boss, they wouldn't treat me like that,
No. Yeah, that's
So,
a good point.
yeah. So
Well,
consider yourself. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm gonna say I don't think a lot of us celebrate our wins in the wedding industry. So
Mhm.
that's, I think you're dead on when you're talking about that. So
Yeah. I do love, like journaling helps me with that, like morning and evening journaling, just to kind of get it out of my head, write it down and acknowledge it. So, talking to yourself about first thinking about what does balance look like for you because it's going
yeah.
to look different for everybody and also depending on just where you are in life. Like, do you have a family? I don't have kids, so that's not really a factor for me, but I am married and I want my work hours to reflect my husband's work hours so we can have weekends together. And we love like working on yard projects. Like that is you want to take a beat to think about what do you want to do outside
Hmm.
of work? What do you want your week to look like and feel like? And what do you want to feel like when you drive home every day or maybe you work from home and it's like when you close your office door, what does that feel like in your body, in your mind? What are you excited about at the end of the day? Are you excited to like go hang out with your friends or go to dinner or cook dinner?
Yeah.
Like my husband is the cook between us, so I wish I had those skills, but I get excited to eat dinner with him. But think about like what are you excited about? Or is it like, oh gosh, that felt good to get that work done and I can't wait to just crank out more work tomorrow,
Yeah.
Um, which is good. You want to be driven, but there's more, and you want to give yourself the opportunity to think through what do you want, or else you're going to go through another week or month or full wedding season, and that turns into years of just plowing through and just kind of becoming this like I don't know, this like cardboard body that's moving through
Yeah.
season to season and not a full person. So I think that's the first step is acknowledging what you want or what you want it to look like or feel like. And then, how are you going to celebrate? Does that mean, yeah, the journal entries or, your quiet mornings before you see clients? Or can you schedule like quarterly CEO getaways or just
Yeah.
little, do you do that, Kevin?
So we have not done it, but I actually just listened to a whole podcast about retreats and about
Mm,
doing a monthly retreat, a quarterly retreat, and a yearly retreat. Where, your monthly is something like 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours. Where it's like a check in, but it with no distractions kind of thing. And then your quarterly is a full day, but not like a travel day. But then yearly is where you go away for a day or two, kind of thing. And
mm-hmm.
just again, no distractions, no client meetings, no phones, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting. And I was like, it's funny. I went to the girls in my office. I'm like, we need to think about something like this because
Hmm.
we will schedule meetings with ourselves internally, and then they get pushed to the side when oh shit, something
Yeah.
someone hits the oh shit button.
Yeah.
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 So
It's like, hey, back burner. It's not a priority, you know?
no, well, it's funny because it is a priority, but it isn't. If that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just we know we need to do it, but there's fires burning somewhere else. So,
Oh, yeah. And something that we talk about too is, the idea of closing the loop. And it
oh,
kind of goes back to that acknowledging the wins. But I like the idea of this retreat where you would
mhm,
just reflect on what worked really well this season. What did we got that done? Like that felt so good to get that done. Or like, let's look back on where we were last year and not just the revenue that came in, but what were the client experiences like and how was I more present and what projects really lit me up so I can book more like this next season, so that
mhm,
is part of closing the loop. And the opposite of that is leaving the loop open and moving on to the next season before you celebrate the wins, before you decide, I don't want to do that kind of work again, or I don't want those hours again. It's kind of like when you have like so many tabs open, and
mhm.
then the interwebs doesn't work as fast. All these tabs open, and the same thing like when we go to bed at night or when we close a wedding season. We know wedding seasons don't like officially close, but you know what I'm saying.
No,
When
I
you
know what you're
wrap it up,
saying.
it's like if all those tabs are still open, how focused can we really be on the next idea or on
Yeah,
the next job, you know?
yeah.
So that mindset work is like, we don't talk about it enough, but it's so important.
No, I agree. We're in Northern California, and we do weddings year round here. And we have venues with indoor ceremony space. So in the
Mm,
winter, we're doing weddings, year round.
yeah.
With that said, this is the time of year where all the outdoor venues start coming online, and therefore that's why this is my busiest week in the entire year,
Mm, yeah.
and we're really stressed. So, want to get your work published and position yourself as a leader in the wedding industry? My sister Megan Ely with OFD Consulting offers PR support created specifically for wedding professionals. Through OFD Collective, you'll get access to PR leads, expert guidance, and the tools you need to get your work in front of the right people. Because you already have the expertise, now it's time to get the recognition. Go to ofdconsulting.com for more information. So how do you, like we talked about the retreats earlier, how do you find the time
Hmm.
to like close the loop or to you go to a conference and you learn all these great ideas but then you never implement them? How do we how do we find the time?
Yeah. Well, So it's so funny. I was just having this conversation with a girlfriend because I'm currently in a musical.
Oh,
And if
wow.
you've ever been in a musical, it's
That's a
like,
lot of
it's,
work.
yeah.
My kids have done that. It's stressful.
Oh my goodness. It's the best. And so I haven't been in one since, my last show was March 2020, like right
Okay.
before COVID.
Oh, wow.
And so my husband was like, you need to be in another show because that was such a big part of my life for so long. And I still perform. I'm a soprano soloist. Like that's another random side
Yeah.
thing. And so those gigs come up every once in a while, but a musical is obviously more time to like you're having to commit. And so we have Tech Week next week and we open
Oh,
a
tech
couple
week's hell.
weekends. Yes. And so it's a lot. And so I was talking to my girlfriends and she's like, how do you have the time? And no, again, like what I said earlier, like nobody's clearing my schedule for me or nobody's like, oh, here's 4 hours extra every night that you're just gonna, you know, have
Do tech
appear in
week.
your calendar. Like you have to make that decision of like what the priority is gonna be, and then everything else will get done. So whether your priority is to have, your reading time, you have like novels that you want to read at night, or you want to have a dinner party with friends like every week or host whatever your priority is and what is truly most important to you, that has to be number one and the work will get done. And there's that saying where like, if you want something to get done, ask a busy person.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you can get stuff done. So when you think like give you like a visual, if you can imagine like like a huge glass mason jar and, you have big rocks and pebbles and sand. I think you probably know what I'm
Yeah.
where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
heard this. You got to fill all this in the jar. And so if you put in the sand first, the sand's going to take up all the space. And so then there's no room for the big rocks or or the pebbles or whatever. You want to put in the jar like the most important thing, right? So
Uh-huh.
that's going to be different for everybody, but you put in those big rocks first and then you got to give it a little shake. You can add some pebbles, give it a shake. The pebbles will settle. You can add sand and then, you even have room for water. If you've seen this in a youth group skit or whatever, there's always room for water to go on top or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, we hyper focus on the little things like, okay, the emails or like these little things that either we could delegate to others or that simply do not need to be done or that could be streamlined with some like CRM or whatever.
Yeah.
There are, in today's day and age, there are so many resources available to us to help just delegate so that we are doing the most important things and we can focus on those big rocks in our mason jar of life. And for me, like right now, the musical is one of my big rocks.
Yeah.
It's so fulfilling for me. And when I feel healthy and I'm having fun and I'm building friendships and I'm feeling creative and it's like I can go to rehearsal and like not think about work, it is so cathartic. And then I show up better the next day at work because I'm not, stressed at night. So take time to, again, this goes back to that like retreat mindset. Take time to like give yourself the chance to think about what you truly want to do or what those big items are for you. And you have to protect them like your life depends on it. And what's exciting is it'll vary depending on where you are in life. And because you run your business can look different year to year. I tell my clients that I coach, some years you just take on like the simple hem and bustle and straps, and you can just crank those babies out because you want to make the money and you have young kids or you have other bigger
Yeah.
things happening in your life. Then there are other years where you're like, I want to take on these, historical costume-esque bridal gowns, or, I want to feel so creatively fulfilled in my work. So I'm going to take on these big projects. And it varies year to year. Your creativity may need to be poured into something else. Like for me, I really, the music piece is something that I've been missing so much. So this year it's like, that takes priority. Like I had a big gig last month and then the musical, and then I want to be pursuing that more. So the clients that I took on this year, super predictable, like, okay, what can I delegate to my assistant? Great. She's going to do all this kind of sewing, she'll help the others. And then like, think ahead of what you want, and you have the freedom to literally make your business what you want it to be. And it does not have to feel or look the same year to year. You have
Yeah.
the freedom to make that choice, but it goes back to making a decision before you start booking the clients. What do you want the year to look like before you start saying yes to all these inquiries? Because then you're just at the mercy of whoever you pre-booked,
Yeah.
and then you have to, those become your big rocks because you've taken on these big projects and everything else in your life, you're just having to fill in between. So just thinking of what you want to prioritize and then prioritize it. And don't forget that you are the one in control of that, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and it's that saying that you hear is like, are you running your business or is your business running you, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it
Yeah.
goes back to everything you just said, like
hmm
how you prioritize everything, I think determines the outcome of that, whether the business is running you or you're running it. So,
Yeah. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And there's time for the business to run you. Like I said at the very
yeah,
beginning of your business, when it's like adrenaline is just pushing you forward and it's thrilling. Like I still remember like my first couple years when I was still teaching and then I was like sewing as a side hustle. And I was so honored to like for the late night sewing because it meant and this is growing, Now
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't keep me at work after 6 p.m.
No, I know what you're saying. No, I was the same way. I used to bring home before I had kids and was a little league coach and on the little league board and did all these other
hmm
things outside of work. Like I would bring home work and, like, okay, kids are down and, or, when they were younger and I'd start jumping back in and doing email and I can't do it anymore. It just,
Yeah.
I need time to decompress and just, get through the day and tackle the top handful of things that I need to get through. So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I think another resource too is get plugged into some kind of coaching program, membership where you are talking with others of how they're doing it better. You
Yeah.
want to be in circles where people are doing it better than you are,
Yeah. You really
because
do.
oh yeah.
Yeah, you really do. I had the honor of being the national WIPA president for 2 different terms, so for 4 years, and so I got to travel the country and go to all the different WIPA meetings and different things. But that's where I really built that relationship with people. I was not their competitor. I was
Mhm.
come in, I was representing the association, but you would able to go in and talk to someone that does what I do. In New York or Atlanta or Vegas, somewhere outside the area, and just get ideas and
Mhm.
I can give them ideas and that was the greatest education I ever got out of being in the industry was just being able to
Yeah.
talk to people that that are not your competitors, you're friendly with them. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh
goes a
yeah.
long way.
And
So
like when I was teaching, I felt so supported like during lunch when I was having lunch with other teachers and like, oh my gosh, you have the same kid, their parents never respond to emails or whatever, like, and because then like you're not alone in those feelings and it's not you. And a lot of us, we work alone or we manage our own teams and we don't have
the lunch.
something else to like check. Yeah, yeah. We don't have a lunch. We don't have like a water, whatever, the water cooler or whatever to talk around. So getting in the room with others who have systems that are working better than you, and then you can give back too and share. But um, I like isolation. I think is so common in the wedding industry, and that leads to burnout because you just don't even know who to ask for
Yeah.
help, and you just assume like this is the norm.
Yeah, I can relate to the lunchroom because my wife was a teacher for 10 years and kind of retired when we had kids, and so now she subs at our kids'
Mhm.
elementary school. And my around lunchtime at the elementary school, my phone starts blowing up with this teacher said this and that one said, like I'm just like, oh my, I can relate. I can relate to what, yeah. I'm like I can almost count on it like clockwork. I'm about to
Yeah,
get a bunch of text messages around
that's so
around
funny.
11:45.
It's
So,
like a group therapy session,
oh, really,
That's
yeah,
how
it
lunch
really
was, yeah.
is. So, all right. Feeling overwhelmed? Trying to do it all in your wedding business? Our friend Ariana of Ariana & Co. is a virtual assistant who specializes in supporting wedding professionals just like you. From inbox and calendar management to content and workflows, she helps keep your business running smoothly so you can focus on your clients, your creativity, and the parts of your business you love most. Go to arianaandcompany.com for more information. So, all right, for like business owners, like juggling, work, family, life, is there like a mind shift that they can immediately do to reduce stress? Something they can like that instant gratification kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I love writing lists, and I
Okay.
feel like if you're an entrepreneur, you gotta love writing lists, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
write a list of all the things that you did this week, like to the, like the emails that you sent or like whatever you did, and then take a highlighter or circle the things that could be done by somebody else.
Yeah.
We are I remember feeling so afraid to hire help, you know what I mean? Or like I don't have the money for that, but something is going to be sacrificed, whether it's a little bit of money up front if you're going to be paying for help or, your sanity. So think about like what could be done by someone else that you can train and trust so that you don't have to think about it. And then look at that list and look at like, wow, this week I'd have so many extra hours if I didn't have to do all those things that I just circled, you know?
Yeah.
And even if you don't hire someone that week, you are training your brain to rethink this full work week that you create for yourself that doesn't need to be as difficult as it's feeling right now, you know? So maybe do that, have that be a habit for like the end of the day for a few weeks, write down everything that you did and then just acknowledge what could be done by someone else. And then you're telling yourself, I can let go. Someone else can do this. Maybe not as good as me, but they can still do it. No, I'm kidding.
No,
They can do it probably better than you because that will be their only job as
yeah.
opposed to you have all these things juggling, in your mind. Um, the the e it really does come down to ego, and I hate to say that, but I know that's what it was for
No.
me. It's like nobody else could sew like me or nobody else could write this email like me. It's like, actually they can, and they can do it better, and I don't need to be doing all this. I think releasing these tasks is the first step because the alternative is to continue to do every single thing by yourself, and it won't all be excellent. It can't all be excellent.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Mhm.
All right. So we haven't really touched on boundaries, so like, can someone set boundaries with clients or with staff or, with I guess without making them feel like they're not taking care of
Yeah.
them. So we did that many years ago. So now, like I do client meetings on these days.
Yeah.
Tuesday is an internal day. Like Wednesday is the day that we do a lot. So we've kind of set days, and
Yeah.
therefore we've kind of set boundaries. Does that help?
I think so, yeah. And it's
Okay.
all about how you present the boundaries. Like you can be a jerk about it or you can be loving. And so
Yeah.
I remember having a coach who this was a while ago. She had very clear boundaries. And she kind of prided herself on, you know, protecting herself and how we should do the same thing. But I just felt really small and I felt like I was totally inconveniencing her whenever I was asking something. So I'm very sensitive to that feeling. However, like with my clients and also like with my members, there's just, again, it's going to be different for each listener of what the boundaries will be like. But for my phone number, I don't even have a public phone for my local shop. Like, don't call me, don't text me. I'm just,
That's
no, like there's,
a boundary.
yeah, it's like because I feel like I'm just always on my phone anyway, so it's like that's the last thing I want is for that at work or get a work phone, no. So everything for me is just go to the inquiry form, even if I have clients reaching out on Instagram, I'll say, "Oh my gosh, so happy to hear from you, congratulations," whatever. Head to the inquiry form, and I just funnel them always to the inquiry form. I know that other people say, like, you need to respond, in the DMs, engage in the DMs, but I know like I cannot keep up with all that. So it just send them to the inquiry form, whatever. I mean, that's just like a little example, but it goes back to again, taking time to think about what you want your life to look like or what you want your day to look like. And whatever doesn't fit in that, it's okay. And I think as long as you're communicating those boundaries lovingly and like with compassion,
Yeah.
because you know that you can serve these people better when you have boundaries in place, and that's where your voice is coming from instead of like, don't bother me, this is my day off, or like, who said you could text me, you know what I mean, like responding with compassion because you know you can serve them better if this is how you communicate or whatever.
Yeah, well, there was a planner, or not a planner. There was a wedding service provider in our local market, and like on their voicemail, if you're calling on a Monday,
Oh.
I am like it just, it was just like, whoa, girl. So
It's like sometimes it's like, do people have any filter, or like do you have any friends that could tell you like
yeah,
this is weird, you know?
yeah,
So if maybe you can set boundaries and like ask you again, goes back to the resource of having like peers to help you. How does this come across? Does this come across kind, and is, like boundaries help both parties, if they're done
yeah,
well.
yeah. All right, so I'm stressed out, been going 100 miles an hour. What should someone do if they're like feeling completely overwhelmed with everything? You know, without
Quit.
shutting down. Yeah, well, no, I like, without shutting down, or like what, or quitting. Like
Yes. Just remember that it's always just a season.
okay,
I mean, e- even I feel like I have a good grasp on things now, but still sometimes there are seasons where it's like, whoo, this is a tough week. And like you were just saying, you're in the middle of your busiest week, and it's normal to have ups and downs and seasons. But I think too, as long as you know that it's a season, and if you think about it and you're like, no, this isn't a season, this is how I live my life all year long. Okay, then let's go back and revisit the tools that we've already
yeah,
talked about in today's episode. And like give yourself again, like that freedom to make changes. I think so much of the feeling of like stuck and overwhelmed is because there's a voice that's telling us owning a business has to be really hard. So I am like a martyr to my brand. And it's like, if I don't work this hard or feel this overwhelmed, that I'm doing something wrong and I'm not successful, because and then that's a whole nother episode of,
yeah,
what
oh
success
yeah,
looks like. I have a, like currently, well, this has been like the past few years. My schedule is I'll have a week that's client facing. So I'll have all my fittings and appointments in 1 week, and then I have a week off. So that week off, we know isn't really a week off. That's when like we're actually doing the sewing work. I'm doing podcasting stuff. I'm focusing on my membership, but that helps me keep the balance. And it's not really like conventional, but it works for me. And so giving yourself, I think, the freedom to think outside the box, and you can make a drastic shift to your schedule or to your boundaries or, your goals, because if you're feeling a sense of overwhelm, like I'm gonna crumble.
yeah,
Um, and you don't see an end in sight, then something does need to change. If you
yeah,
feel like, oh gosh, I'm gonna just fall apart, but Monday will feel different because I know my
yeah,
schedule's so different. That's different, you know?
yeah. I remember in 2021, it was all that pent up, everyone trying to get. It was the fall of 2021. And it was just everyone trying to get their weddings done,
Mhm, mhm.
because we're in California, we were locked down, like, there was no
Yeah.
weddings, no
Well,
nothing.
Washington had the same. I know
Yeah, I
exactly
was
what you're
gonna
talking
say
about.
if you're in the Seattle, Washington, wherever area, you guys were just as locked down as us in
Yeah.
California and New York, and a couple other states were very, very locked down. But
Mhm.
it was that fall, like, we were doing weddings. We had them every day of the week, and if you went back 47 days from Thanksgiving, so go back that way, we had at least one wedding every day, and
Oh my
some
goodness.
days multiples. And I just kept thinking to myself, because we were going to Hawaii for Thanksgiving. And I was just like, okay, that's my, that I'm looking forward to. This, I get to go to Hawaii, and at the time that was going to be our first time back to Hawaii, because Hawaii was locked down just like
Oh yeah.
everything else. Yeah. So so sometimes you just need that. I feel like that motivation, like you were saying, Monday will feel different, or this
Right.
day, looking ahead, this will get
Mhm.
better. I'm going to take a whole day off on this day because of everything
Yeah.
else that's been going on. And,
Yeah.
just like looking ahead, having something to look forward to, I think helps.
Right, and just knowing, like, this isn't how I permanently feel. But
Yeah.
then if it is how you permanently feel, then that's a different conversation. But yeah.
Yeah. Do, do you think there's any like certain expectations people should let go of in order to protect their time and energy? Like maybe, like you mentioned, hiring a staff member, or maybe hiring a virtual assistant. You know,
Mhm.
you were talking about email. Like, or is it something that you just simply don't like to do?
I think with it's going to require some type of up leveling. So that's either
Okay.
going to look like you hire out and or you raise your prices, you change your packages. Something does need to change because the way your business looks when you first start it should not be how it looks and
Mm,
operates 10 years down the road. And I think when we just get in the habit of like this is how it feels and this is how I experience it, we don't realize that it's not normal for it not to morph, you know,
mm,
or like evolve down the road. So that you need to recognize that like something does need to change. You need to let go of something, add something. But if you're at that level, instead of thinking about it as like, oh great, well now I need to pay somebody else or like money needs to go out the door, you're up leveling. Like
yeah.
you're graduating to the next level, and that's exciting and it's proof of your
Yeah.
growth. And if you choose not to do that, you're not going to be growing,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and I think a lot of us in the wedding industry, it just in talking to so many people, we're so bad at we're so against DIY anything, but yet we
But we
DIY
are. We're
we
like so scrappy.
yeah, we are, but we DIY our business.
I
Like
know.
we'll go out and we'll make our own website or like we'll
That
go
is
out and we're
so true.
yeah, and so that's where I think where you when you mention up leveling, that's where it is. You got to
Yeah.
let go and hire the professionals to do their jobs. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I was the DIY bride, and I was, like, on a very strict budget, and I was like, "I can do this myself, I can blah, blah." And now it's like, that is not my ideal client, but and I knew that from the jump was, "Okay, I am not my ideal client." But that's so funny, and I see it so often when women join the membership, they've tried to do all that kinda stuff, and then they're like,
mhm.
"Okay, this isn't working, so I need help from somebody else." But once you open yourself up to that, it's just kind of like even that visual of opening like your palms up for help
Yeah,
or okay, it's also kind of like a sacrifice. Like, okay, I'm gonna take fewer clients with higher tickets. Like something does need to be given, but just think about what you're opening yourself up to, like even in that like physical movement. You know what I mean? Of giving something up.
yeah. No, it's funny too because we back to the DIY. We just did a wedding where it was for us a very expensive. They spent a lot of money with us, but we were the most expensive thing at the wedding. Like
Hmm.
they felt that what we provided, the chandeliers, the drapery, all that was their big spend, and they
Mm-hmm.
DIY'd everything else. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I've seen that happen to where they spent tons of money on a photographer, but yet everything, So I think every client is different, and that's
Hmm.
hard navigating all that kind
Yeah.
of wonderful
Totally.
stuff. So now,
Hmm.
do you think, we like to be perfect in the wedding industry? Do you think perfectionism contributes to burnout, especially
Yeah.
during the
And it
wedding
goes back to
season?
the ego thing.
Okay.
Like it needs to be perfect and we're the only ones who can do it perfectly,
Yeah.
you know? It kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it really does. So,
Mhm.
all right. So, I think we've gone through it. I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think we missed anything, but
No, we got
I,
some good tools out there, guys. So
I
I have
really
no
do.
excuses if you're burnt out. No, I'm kidding.
There's always an excuse. Uh, So I just kind of want to wrap up. If there's what's one small change like a wedding business owner can make that will make a big impact on reducing stress during their busy season.
Ooh, I do love journaling. And I know it's
Okay,
an extra thing to do, but it gives yourself the opportunity to get things out of your head and onto paper. It's
like a
kind of
brain
like a
dump.
release,
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, your morning should kind of be, you can be writing about what you want to do that day or what you want the day to look like, feel like, how you want to experience it. And then at the end of the day, don't write your to do list for tomorrow, but celebrate what already happened this day.
Oh, that's a
Like,
and why not? Why not write your to do? I'm just curious now.
it goes back to closing the loop, So now at the end of the
Oh,
day, you're closing that loop, closing this
okay,
tab,
okay.
and then the next day is a fresh start. But if you're writing down your to-do list, you I don't know, I'm going to bed thinking about what I have to do tomorrow, and
Oh,
not recognizing what's already been done.
and you're not celebrating your wins, which is
Exactly.
something we don't do in the wedding industry.
Exactly.
So
So, get a couple journals. Yeah.
that's a good idea. And actually, Apple has a new app on their phone. You can journal right in and it'll document
No,
it.
no, 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 you need to write it. You
Okay,
need
all right,
it's
write
getting
it.
to the old school, you gotta feel the paper. Here's the pen, okay?
Okay, Don't listen to Kevin. All right. All right. So Nadine, how can folks find you, connect with you?
Yeah. Well, Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast is on all podcast streaming platforms. You can reach out to me on Instagram with the same handle, Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress. But yeah, I would love to connect with wedding pros
All right,
about this
folks.
topic or others.
And we'll have all of Nadine's information in our weekly email that goes out, and as well as all the show notes as well. So, Nadine, I can't thank you enough for being here. It was a great topic, very timely for me to be talking about.
The end is near. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I keep looking at. The end is near. So, anyway, and folks, I just want to remind everyone, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. We'll see you next time, folks.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business, brought to you by Wedding IQ. If you've got a topic you'd love to hear us cover, or if there's an area of your business you're struggling with, let us know and we'd be happy to help. Don't forget to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and left a review. It helps more wedding pros find us and learn more from our guests too. Thanks again for listening to Mind Your Wedding Business. We'll catch you next time.